How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad that you're here. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important topics yet, suicide. It's subtly one of the greatest killers in the world right now. It's affected people both in my life and in the lives of friends. Thus, I really think it's worth talking about it. To begin, I think it's worth mentioning my own relationship with it. And I will start off by saying that in my own life, it hasn't come up very often. I have felt very emotional within the past few years. But on the subject of suicide, I believe I was actually the worst with it in the middle school years. Because in middle school, your worldview is very small. It's kind of just the people you know, and that's it. Not old enough to drive a car yet, and thus expand your knowledge in your world. The world is very small, so when there's struggles in that small world, they can feel a lot bigger. So I remember there being issues, and I remember feeling not cared about sometimes. And I remember being alone at home, and a few times rubbing a knife against my arm, or poking it at my stomach. I never harmed myself, never made myself bleed, but I was flirting with it. But I don't want me mentioning this to be of worry, because while I'm not always feeling the best in the modern era, I've never even come close to that kind of thing since. And it's because of the following principles that I'm about to share. It is because of these principles that I don't even think about suicide. It's not an attractive idea to me in any way, and it's because of what I'm about to share. The first is that everything is temporary. You might be in a really bad spot in life right now. Maybe you have a really bad situation. Maybe you just broke up with someone you loved. Maybe you just lost someone you love. You're in a point in life where things are dramatically bad and it feels like things won't change. I promise you that everything is temporary. With all the bad in the world, there is just as much good. And also, this is repeated often, but it's true. Time heals all, and it will heal you too, I promise. The next principle that kind of goes along with that is that life can bring great surprises. I remember there being a point in my life, I believe it was one October, when a friend was driving me to school. During that drive, we talked about our places in life. I shared how I felt super broke, but that I had the love of my life. And he shared that he was working all the time, and money was coming in for him just fine. But he never got to find love yet, and he really wanted it. Then, the summer after that, I stopped dating the person I was with, but luckily, my friend met someone new at work. She stuck out immediately to him, and he thought that she was beautiful. They kicked it off right away, and now I can happily say that he's been in his first relationship now for 5 months. They really care about each other, and it's genuinely cool to see. So with this, just keep going. Have that hope that amazing opportunities are near. You just got to stick around so you can take those opportunities. With those first two concepts in mind, I'd like to bring up an outlook on life that I have. And it is that life can be broken down into two different concepts: habits and phases. Habits are your life. It's what you continuously do. Some are good, some are decent, and some are bad. The goal is to minimize the bad ones, the unproductive ones, as much as you possibly can, and to also elevate the good habits in your life that improve your mental wellness, your happiness, and your overall being. Next, life can be thought of as a bunch of phases. So right now, you're in a current phase of life where you're not feeling well. Things are on the down low, maybe not much is happening, or too much negative events are happening. But I promise you, that's just right now. It's just a phase. It's not all of life. I'm hoping that you can think of a time when things were calmer or happier, and thus the future can be thought of in the same manner. It would be problematic to think that the entire future will be sunshine and rainbows, but it would be especially problematic to think that the entire future will be grim. Reality can't be defined by one extreme term. Reality is complicated. The world is complicated. But just because it's complicated doesn't mean it's not beautiful. The next principle is that I want to accomplish my dreams. I want to grow up. I want to have a family. I know you have those dreams too. Don't give up on those dreams. Your dreams are amazing, and I think they're way too cool to pass up. Please don't give up on them. Work towards your dreams. Plan well, and you can achieve them. I think that's kind of the pursuit of happiness, pursuing your dreams. And in doing so, not only is the journey beautiful, but when you arrive there and you achieve your dreams and goals, it'll be beautiful, and your life will be elevated. One of my favorite principles is this, that there are best friends, or some of the most important people in your life that you haven't even met yet. My father and I are best friends. He's one of the most positive things in my life. I met him the day I was born. He met me at 30. What I'm trying to say is that the most important people in your life might not even be born yet, and I want you to live so you can meet them. Whether it's your children or nephews and nieces, there's amazing people who aren't even walking the earth yet. And I think what's just as cool to think about is that you can have best friends that are out there in the world right now that you just have yet to meet. Or maybe they're already in your world, but you have yet to start talking to them and discover their greatness. As I mentioned earlier, I struggled the most in middle school. If I stopped living back then, I never would have met the group of friends I met in high school. I never would have met the amazing person that I would have dated, and I never would have met the college friends that are great people and are of great quality. So please know that for these great people, it's worth it to keep going. The final principle that encompasses essentially all of the previous points is that the future is too exciting. Even if you don't feel like it in the moment, I assure you that there are things you want to get done. There are places that you want to visit. There's so much that you haven't even tried for the first time yet. So it's best to allow the future to provide that for you. There is still so much beauty to be seen for you. The pain is temporary, but the world turns. Think about yourself 1 year ago. It was probably a completely different situation. Think about yourself 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Life was likely on a way smaller scale back then. You're bigger and better now. You've gone through so much. At your current moment, you have the most life experience left. You are both the oldest and wisest version of yourself right now, but you're also the youngest, and you still have so much more to do. So again, the world's a-turnin', things are a-changin', and you should be a part of that great change. There are people that love you, even if it doesn't feel that way. I promise you that's not true. There are always people that love you and care about you. You're not alone. And with that, thank you for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.